place primarily was theorized on the basis that so who are drinking coffee and who can
In other
afford.
words, mom, in
Okay.
other words, in your example regarding the Starbucks, where we are going to locate the Starbucks, it is attributed
Mhm.
also to the locate.
Actually, we find them everywhere. I'm not sure of today's dynamic. Sino ba yung mga distributors ng
Yeah.
mga ganito? But
Excuse me. Pwede ba na,
yes, yes.
let's say, yung katulad dito sa Qatar,
Oh,
Okay,
mayroon
Qatar
tayong
Medical City,
yes.
tapos yung Industrial City. So, yun din ang inadapt siguro ni Qatar nung nag-develop sila dito. And
All right. Moving on, let's come back to the session. Tapos ng ating 5 minutes bio break.
but I'm happy.
And then,
Oo, na magtulong-tulong tayo to 100% passing rate. Hashtag. Um, so I'll share again. This time I'll share the PowerPoint, which is yung hindi ko siya nagawa. So are you seeing it?
ayun, Ma'am Ann is coming back. All right.
Okay. Nakikita niyo ito, no?
Yes,
Are you
ma'am.
seeing? All right. Thank you. Um, so we're still on the hierarchy, on the central place theory um by Walter Christoller. So let's review again. So it means that what comprises the central place, diba? So it's a village, it is a town, it is a city, which is engaged in settlement, farming, trade, and provides a common location for the local exchange of goods. So it's an economic theory, but we need to know what are the other terminologies located in this theory. What did they use before? They use hinterland. Hinterland is the surrounding area or market area. So meaning so they are being served by the central place. It means that this is the place where they supply, diba? These are where the consumers are located, so he called it market area. It is a large tributary. So but in that in market area, or because ano na yon, center and then market area, it is what he called the clustering also, the clustering of human population around central places through time until a hierarchy of settlements appears that corresponds to the market's need for low level to high level services. So there are categories of services. It is they are also designated as low level to high. Within his theory, the larger the settlements, the fewer their number. So let's try to inspect the theory. The farther the larger a settlement, the farther away a similar size settlement is. So it means that hindi makakatabi yung large ganyan, because they they surround normally smaller settlements surround a larger settlement. So the range of market increases as the population increases. So these are some of the assumptions. And the larger the settlement, the higher the order of its services. But there are deviations. It means that uh there are exceptional cases like tourist resorts, diba, that have small population but large number of functions. So it means that it is catering to a particular uh, group, that that the tourists themselves, right? They come, and that's why because it could be very far, it could be hinterland, or it could be far away, like what it is still it's still very relevant today, that like ano yung mga tourist like destinations like Palawan, for example. They complete the functions in there because the population, or the the market is they come from, they come, it is a wealthy population that patronizes these tourist resorts. So these are some of the what's happening or what is true today. Now, it provided also an example of dormitory towns that have a large population but a small number of functions. The dormitory towns were conceptualized because not really dormitory as a term, but dormitory means that they just sleep in that area, but they work in another town. They work in a city, and so that's why it was coined as a dormitory town. That they, of course, after that a day's work, they go back to where they sleep, and that's why it has a large population. But it the population residing in that dormitory town, they don't mind if the functions are incomplete, um are not necessarily the high end goods and services, or that particular level of a city, but they, because they can anyway benefit from where they work from a bigger city or bigger town. So, and that's why dormitory town is a technical term in urban planning, in development planning, that that says that it is where people primarily they just sleep in there and not really perform or work. That all their activities are concentrated in that particular town. So these are some of the exceptions. Or so knowing all those assumptions, or some examples, is still we are still on central place theory, that it says there are many size classes of cities as markets. Cities of the same order have similar economic characteristics and population sizes. And then third, high order cities have all the services of a lower order city. So let me show you a drawing here, or a illustration of the hierarchy, also representing threshold and range. That as you it shows service activities from low order to high. Like, I'm not sure if you're able to see sa SARP kasi, 'di ba, tinuturo ito, that as you increase the total population, which threshold means the population required in a particular place. Like for example, um, in the city level or city threshold, uh, the services are, are
Expensive.
complete. And as you go higher, metropolitan level, then the goods and services available gets higher
Higher.
also, and more complex, or and more
Expensive.
luxurious. Oo,
Luxurious.
luxurious or expensive. Like for example, ano yung mga VVV means, ano yan, sa village level, or itong mga ano natin, itong representation, we can do better than this one. Kaya lang nasa libro kasi ito na ni BJL Berry. So Berry also, um, JL Berry also theorized about range and threshold, but range and threshold, he ano na yon, not really simplified, but he used also that central place theory for him to be able to discuss, or to there was a term used by J.L. Berry, where he improved, or he added some variables into the range and threshold. But originally, it is they were discussed already in the central place theory of Walter Christoller. So ang ibig sabihin, if pag makikita ninyo ito sa exam, uh it is particularly referring to the range and threshold concepts, that as you go up, that the population, it means that it is needed to support a good and service. So threshold means the population. But for for the range, it means it is the representing in the range and threshold of Walter Christoller. He referred to the maximum distance. So it is the distance, yung range. Please don't forget that range refers to the maximum distance people are willing to travel to obtain goods and services from a central place. And threshold denotes the minimum population required to sustain a certain level of goods and services in a central place. Did you get that hexagonal representation of Walter Christoller? Alright, kita ninyo yung that did you experience that you're willing to travel just to get that good or just to get that quality service, right? Yeah, there may be available goods and services similar to what you desire or to what you are accustomed to patronizing or to buy. But however, you thought so that anyway, yeah, it could be a little farther, but this is where I'm willing to travel up to this point particular. The A that you can see that producers in the kanina may question na about Qatar, that about other concepts that uh in investing, for example, in locating your industries, you need to consider also distances from the raw materials. So uh like producers are willing can you see that number one, producers are willing to travel up to point A. So these are the hexagonal illustration or representations to purchase from the other producers if they ran out of of supplies. So number two, with improved transport and communication. So meron ding a variable of if there's efficient transport and communication, and I'm willing, basta may signal or what, you can, di ba? You are willing to travel farther to be, okay, from the central place. Now, also central place theory recognizes or acknowledges that market areas overlap. That overlapping means that yeah, in producers or the suppliers or consumers, because market areas is the distribution, right? So the distribution area, it's where people where you find people who which your goods and services would be able to reach up to. So development of hexagonal market areas around a system of central places is tangential spheres are more efficient. So uh and therefore they Walter Kostoller developed this theory, and he created higher order, lower order services. And but this is just an illustration, but there are some professors in who are really specializing on this, that they describe it, they compute that, and there are explanations as to why they use the the hexagonal illustration or demonstration of the central place theory. There are equations involved. It's not just, but of course, in our board exam, I'm not sure if there were some board if there were some board exams before that mathematical yung approach to computing the range and threshold. But for now, yeah, we can limit ourselves to this conceptual level, and the systems level as well. But as to mathematical, we can do that in the future. I promise. Kasi meron computation ng bawat yan. Some economists also hinahati nila yung like for example from A to A to B. they they have that, and then there's equation uh on why they need to compute each side and how many and they represent that mathematically. So it's very interesting for central. There's a lot to talk about central place theory. So okay, and again, I would like to bring you some equations, simple equations here. Even that k equals 2, k equals 3, k equals 6, um, meron din computation dyan, that, that each, it says each high-ranked central place offers all goods and services of next lower rank place, plus at least one or two more. It means that um for the as you go higher, the hierarchy, like from village to town. Okay, let's try to compare village level and then town level. What it means by this comparison is that the higher hierarchy offers greater good or services, but uh it says plus at least one or two more. So these are just representations and not really very accurate. But during that time that the rule of twos were used to compute threshold. Uh, it says in the second bullet that low order goods, low threshold are inexpensive and frequently purchased goods. So siguro mga sachet or wala pa naman sachet ng araw, but I just want to demonstrate that what do you mean by inexpensive? uh yeah, the disposable goods, or some the not really lasting goods. So uh these are the characteristics and how they describe inexpensive. But inexpensive also would mean going up the ladder, and you can see furniture and food. Nakita ninyo yung sa food offered by all hierarchy. Of course, there's food business in the village level. Of course, there's food. Can you see the straight line there, the horizontal, the diagonal going up, the ladder of the or high order hierarchy from village to town to the city level to the food, um, to the what's this, city and up. um it it offered all. It offered all from the luxurious items, like it says far fars yung ginawang ano ni Walter Kristoller. And then for the up to the town level, it says there are furniture available up to the town level. But for the city, all are available. So did you understand that? But for the village level, probably it's just up to food. So that's how he illustrated the central place theory, and that's the concept of the range and threshold variables, distance, and population that will hold or that will support the the goods and services, or the different categories of the goods and services. So at the top, it says, the last bullet at the top are regional metropolises that offer all services associated with central places, and that have large hinterlands. So okay, let's see. Ito is still a tool. Lumabas ito nung I remember 2017. Uh, that's why it's the reason why I also included here, because the measure of centrality, when you see something like this, to all aspirants, when you see something like this as a question as a board question, baka mabigla ka because it does not look good. Number one, it does not look good. Number two, ano kaya ito, right? So when you see a graphical representation in the board exams and nag-effort na maglagay sila ng board question na ganyan, the first thing you need to look at is yung legend. Okay? Kasi you cannot understand ano kaya yung na black na yan. Of course, wala namang colored sa board exam because wala pang na-develop. Black and white lang lahat. Lahat ng illustrations doon. So, you need to look at the legend. Okay, it's located. You can see the legend at the far, at the, top top left corner of this material. You can see function present. It means all those blackened there are, it is present in a particular city or in a particular town. And then, uh, the white ones are not present or absent. So, ibig sabihin, when you see all black, it means that it is a metropolitan level or it is a city level. So, that's simple. Huwag ka siyang ma-shock, but that's how simple the question should be. And so the probable question that will be asked is which settlement has all the
Black.
uh is the central business district or is the where central place theory should be applied? What's the highest high level of high level service that you can find? Which settlement is that? So, with settlement means that mamimili ka lang doon sa Naga o ano, 'di ba? Ah, ap wag din kayong ma-shock kasi Legazpi, okay, meron kasing absence. So, that's ano, wala silang farm equipment repair, right? So it means that that's not the answer. So the answer should be the next one. Lahat naka-blacken eh. Blacken, all. It means that all functions are present. And so that means what is the representation when all functions are present? It means that it represents this one, the highest level, the high order goods, high threshold. So, answer is Naga. Makita mo naman doon sa population niya, 'di ba? I'm not sure. Legazpi yung 92 kasi siya yung population niya pero yung depends on the question. What does it have? So it does not mean the highest population or something. But if you become wiser in choosing the answers and which settlement has all the functions present, baka makikita ninyo yung population na highest, yun na yung isasagot ninyo. So it depends on the question. But if it asks you, so which settlement has the highest population and the highest threshold, and you can answer Legazpi, di ba? So, uh, the theory stresses relevance of market area to the size of town's population. But the theory also highlights the importance of situation rather than site conditions. Theory also introduces urban hierarchy, helps understand the emergence of an integrated hierarchy of cities of different functions and sizes. Theory led to the introduction of the rank size rule. And that's why this one provides the introduction to the rank size rule because it sets the stage for the rank size rule. Um, the theory served. So rank size rule later there's another theorist or thinker who introduced the rank size rule. So theories serve as basis for administering urban regions and for allocating resources for investment decisions. See, so you can use this as one of the, especially when providing narratives for your plan and your strategies, and you can cite to make your narratives more intelligent and more attractive, and then based on central place theory by Walter Christoller, things like that. I mean, it could be more credible and it could be more interesting for investors or for the local chief executive or for the company or for your client to be reading your narratives. So this provides framework for understanding regional spatial structure. So regional development, regional planning, and this becomes still a relevant, a theory, which is central place theory by Walter Christoller. Are we ready to leave this theory, Dennis?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Exactly po. Ang ganda, ang
Maganda
ganda.
ba?
Opo, maganda. Very interesting talaga.
Oo.
But,
So, okay, but of course there are many no limitations siya,
oo.
the terrain, etc. Madami siyang limitation.
Geographical
Uh,
concerns.
oo. Yeah, it is also limited. It is also linear. So when it's linear, it means that, it speaks of limitedness when it's linear. All concepts these days are a wave are are represented by waves, are represented by curves. I should mean
Mm-hmm.
from a single good economy to multiple, because multipleness in goods, services means that, yeah, it's all about the curves. It's all about the non-linearity of our concepts. So producers always optimize, maximize profits. Well, please don't forget this. Baka ABCD, none of the above, baka maisulat ninyo that central place theory does not contain this, but please don't forget that within it is also a limitation within the central place theory, that um, hindi siya characteristic, but it is a limitation because it says that producers always optimize. It maximizes profits while consumers minimize costs. So these are basic that it was not considered in the central place theory. So these are the limits. Okay? Okay ba tayo? Kasi besides transportation, ah third bullet, ah so dapat alam din natin, ano yung wala. Limitation means that it did not consider in the theory. Okay? So, uh, now, okay, let me see. I think we need to, before we go to the rank size rule, we need to talk about the range and threshold
Yes.
again, but not anymore Walter Christoller, but this was enhanced, or this was, nag-level up yung kanyang range and threshold by Walter Christoller, because it's not necessarily owned by BJL Berry and Garrison, but it was improved to make it more elaborate and to make it more important, yung range at threshold, they explain it in their, you know, they were known for this one, BJL Berry. Ano na yung BJL Berry? Nandun sa isang slide ko yung totoong pangalan niya. BJL is his name. So, the concepts of range and threshold shape the distribution of central places. Okay, it was continued by another theorist. Different goods and services vary both in threshold and range. Threshold in this particular theory by B.J.L. Berry and Garrison, it means that the threshold is the minimum level of effective demand that will allow a firm to stay in business. Threshold, doon sa central place theory, was about how many people should be supporting. So, kinakount mo yung population. Here in the BJL Berry and Garrison, it's something that dinagdagan nila. It became minimum level of effective demand. So the term effective demand that will allow a firm to stay in business. So kasi not all population, not all the all people would patronize you, even if ang daming tao doon, and probably there is a likelihood that they will not patronize your goods and services. But effective demand means that it is an indicator that they are consumers of that particular good and services. So that will allow a firm to stay in business. So it's not just the population count. So the minimum market needed to bring a firm or city selling goods and services into existence and to keep it in business. Alternatively, it can refer to the minimum amount of purchasing power. So nadagdagan siya ng isang variable, the purchasing power necessary to support the supply of goods and services from a central place. Normally, the threshold is found within the range as the diagram shows. So there's there are two concentric rings that you can see. The first concentric ring is about the threshold, but the range, it means that people are ano yung ano niya daan, tre in central place theory, the range means that the people are willing to travel, right? But the threshold here is the effective demand. It means that upon reaching the threshold, that pink there, I'm not sure, violet by the purple, uh, that concentric ring in the inner ring is the threshold where you can say that, aha, my business is working, my business is it I can keep this business because I was able to have, I was able to ensure that they are being there are consumers within this particular range. But beyond that is the range means that, what do you see here as a range? Ano yung ano niya, that people are still there, but it could be like a bonus probably, that we the range could, you can go beyond the threshold, but the threshold, it means that there are, you can be assured, you can be one, you have peace of mind doing business because you can sell that into that particular point. Beyond that, there are some still people who can, so it will depend these days. You can say depends on your marketing strategies, so that you can reach up to the range, the second ring there, which is the range where more people would be able to support your business. All right. So normally normally the threshold is found within the range. It says there. Uh, but as a diagram, so but threshold population is the minimum population necessary. So beyond, still who knows, di ba? When you offer toothpaste, was my whitening and then you have competition, and of course, it depends on where your products and goods and services would be able to reach particular point within the range. So okay, upper level now for the range and threshold theory, meron ding upper level, meron ding lower level, but please don't be confused that the upper level is the degree of competition from other central places supplying the same product. So toothpaste, soap, for example, coffee, and lower level means the threshold necessary to permit its functions. Beyond there, yeah, there are some degrees of competition already going on. And of course, it will depend on the quality, on the cost, whichever, for to add more consumers to keep buying or to support your business. So market range means that there are many terminologies again. Market range means the distance which people are willing to travel to reach or obtain a specific good or service. It's still the same with the central place. Market area, market range, market area is also the area over which a firm can underprice its competitors. So there are additional variables, terminologies within this theory. It included underpricing, so that it is a form so that you can manage your competitors. All right. So range of goods and services refers to the average maximum distance by which people are willing to travel to obtain or purchase the good or product at market price. So, ang dami nang pumasok doon, maximum distance. For Cristoller, that's the distance. But for uh, Berry and Garrison, willing to travel to obtain or purchase a good or product at market price. See, there's a consideration of the market
Market
price. It
price.
means that due to some competition factors or competitor factors or considerations can be last bullet can be also thought of as how far the good reaches from the central place distance where demand becomes zero. So what does it mean? Can be also thought of as how far the good reaches from the central place. Okay, and then after that, no matter what you do, yeah, the demand is already becomes zero already. So that's their framework that they considered that um beyond this range, it will no longer, because there may be other factors not already included in this particular discussion, especially so that our economy becomes complex now, and because of the digital aspects, digital marketing, digital everything,
Technology.
anything uh, should be iba na rin yung landscape of our economy and how it behaves, right, in the chart.